Well, hello, it's Karen McDermott-Rolfe, independent advisor with Creative Memories, and I am back with my technique, challenge, and layout for the month of August. And I invite all of you to use this technique to create a layout and share it with me on Facebook in my private group, Karen's Croppers. When you share your layout into the album, you'll be entered into my monthly door prize drawing. You can also visit my blog at karencrops.com for more layout ideas. And also, if you'd like to purchase from me through Creative Memories, my website link is creativememories.com/user/Karen, and it's Karen with a Y. And I so appreciate all of your orders, and I offer a very generous customer rewards program. Today I'm going to share a technique that's really a simple technique. I like these techniques that are quick and easy, but yet it gives you a great visual result by using this technique. So it's quite striking. And I am going to use the Treeline border punch. Now this punch is an old punch that Creative Memories has brought back this week for our Tool Time Buffet. So for this promotion called Tool Time Buffet, Creative Memories has brought back 3 of our old favorites, including the Treeline border punch, also the decorative arcs, and the teardrop lattice border punches. Plus it's introduced 3 new tools, 2 more border maker punches, and also a border maker cartridge. When you purchase any combination of 3 of those tools, you will receive a free pack of embellishments. So I invite you to go to my Creative Memories website link and check out that Tool Time promotion that is running right now. So to get started, I am using some paper from our Leave Nothing Behind collection. This collection is an outdoor theme. It's geared towards our national parks, but really it works for really any kind of an outdoor hiking, visiting, vacation photos that we have, visiting natural areas. So I'm going to use a sheet of this tree print paper. So we're looking down here at some evergreen fir type trees, and we're going to use that with the Treeline punch. I've got a head start by cutting a 1-inch hollow frame from a 12 by 12 inch sheet of dark green cardstock. So I cut out the middle, and then I trimmed down a sheet of white cardstock to 11.5 by 11.5, and I taped it on. And that's going to be the background for our layout. Now to create our layout, we're going to get the paper oriented here in the correct direction. So to me it looks like the pattern is running this direction. So I want to punch now at the top of the paper. I'm going to line it in, line the paper up with a black line on the front of the punch. And I'm going to make sure that that paper is flush all the way against the back tray before pressing down and punching. And then I'm going to pull my paper through, and I'm going to do some pattern matching. So I just overlap the printed or the punched out pattern of the paper with the printed pattern that's on the base of the punch. And then I'm just going to keep doing that, pulling it through, matching those patterns and punching. I'm also keeping the paper flush against that back edge of the tray of the punch. And now I am going to keep these little pieces. And I think I'm going to call this kind of a puzzle piece technique maybe, because we're going to put these pieces back together, the pieces that we have punched out. But first what I'm going to do is take my 12-inch trimmer, and I am going to cut apart this tree paper into strips. And I'm going to, I'm going to line up the paper here against the bottom edge of my trimmer, keeping it nice and straight. And I'm going to cut it after every 4 trees. As we can see, with each punch, we punched out 4 of the tree shapes. Okay, so I want some panels that are going to mirror the punched out piece. So that's going to be every 4 trees. And right where I'm going to cut, I'm going to line it up with that dashed cutting line on the trimmer. And I'm also going to use the sight lines to make sure that I have the paper positioned correctly. And on both the top and the bottom of the trimmer, we have these clear little sight guides, and they have a black line imprinted on them. And right on that black line is where the trimmer is going to cut. So I am trying to get it right in between these trees. So I don't have a lot of wiggle room to make a mistake there. So I'm just going to use that sight guide, make sure I have it right in between those 2 trees, and then I'm going to cut. Whoops. I didn't quite get it all the way through the bottom. I think I'm just going to use my scissors to snip that off. There we go. And I'm going to move it over 4 trees, line it up again using my sight guide. See, I think I want to come over just a smidge. I mean, it's just talking about like a hair length here. And now I'm going to cut 4 more. Sometimes we forget about these sight lines because they get stuck up there in the top and the bottom of the trimmer, so kind of out of sight, out of mind. But they are a nifty feature to this 12-inch trimmer. There we go. Now I'm going to set aside 4 of the panels. With this last panel, I'm going to cut it apart in between each of the trees. So I have to make sure that the whole strip is in straight. So I'm referring to the lines here on the base of the trimmer and making sure that edge of my strip is on the line, but I have to scooch it over a little bit according to using my sight guides to cut it in between those trees. And now I have a strip of just 1 tree. And I'm going to do that with all 4. I need to kind of make sure, though, I have my strip straight. See, it was kind of easy to have it in there a little crooked. So although I have it lined up at the top with the sight guide, I also have to keep a look over here, my left edge, and make sure that I have the strip straight all the way up and down. We're only going to use 2 of these tree pieces, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut them all apart so I can select which ones I want to use. Okay. Now what we're going to do, let me make sure I'm in frame. Better come down a little bit, huh? So we're going to arrange these back on the paper with that white background, and it's going to provide a really nice contrast for us. So I'm looking at these 4 strips, and I need to decide which 2 I'm going to use. I'm going to eliminate this one because it's narrower than the other 3. So I think I'm going to look for 2 that look to be about the same width. So all 3 of these are really close. I'm looking at the trees. I think these 2 trees were the same size, whereas that tree's a little smaller, so I'm going to eliminate that one. And now I have these punched out pieces too. So the small individual strips are going to go on the sides of the layout. And then the panels are going to go in the middle, and we're going to leave a little bit of space in between them. So this is real rough right now because I want to put these little pieces up at the top to create kind of my puzzle pieces. You see how that relief, it gives the illusion that there's like a whole nother row of trees up there. So it gives it some depth that I really liked, that illusion. And it creates kind of the striking border in the white right there through the middle. And it almost gives it a little zigzag effect too. So I'm just scooching it up. Now you can decide how far apart you want to place your panels to the pieces. I think I'm liking them a little bit closer than further apart. Now for these two on the sides, I'm going to have to cut, I think, well, I should probably use the trimmer to make sure I cut them straight. But I'm going to have to cut out these individual trees. So I'm going to look right here and cut right down the center of that tree piece. And it's going to give me a little piece right there. And then I'm going to cut right down the center of this green tree. Got another piece, and then again. If you recall, I said that two of the trees were a little larger than the other two. So these were the reliefs for the larger tree that's going to match up with those. So I think for my spacing, it's going to work out better. I don't really want huge gaps in between this, as I really don't want a big striped effect. But I think it's going to work out better if I arrange these little single pieces about 1/8 of an inch or so over from the edge. And then I'm going to be able to arrange all of these other pieces about 1/8 of an inch also from each other. Okay. And then I'm going to scooch them up in place. But you see, they are a little long, and we're going to have to cut off some on the bottom. Now, since I have not previously made this layout, I wasn't sure exactly where to cut them. So let me see. Got my nifty ruler. It looks like we're going to take off about 1 inch from the bottom of each one of these. So I'm just going to smooth that over a little bit, and I'm going to take 1 inch off. And we're going to see how that looks. So I might want to take a little smidge more. Or maybe not. So now I have to kind of rework my spacing a little bit. And I don't believe I'm going to take the time on the video to do the taping, but I'm definitely going to use my repositional tape runner to adhere these pieces. And I'm going to be extra careful that I get a good amount of tape on the very tips of the tree pieces. That way they won't get bent, they won't tear, and they'll look nice and neat as it's going to lay nice and flat. So like I said, I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch in between all the pieces. And you're just going to kind of have to take a few minutes, play with that spacing, get it right before you start taping. And I always like to lay out my pieces first before I tape. And these strips are going to come all the way to the bottom edge of the white cardstock. Okay, so look at that neat effect we get. So it kind of creates a little bit of a shadow border. It's like a little puzzle. We've created these pieces we're putting back together. It gives it a look like there's some depth, another line of trees there in the background. And now to go across and kind of finish this look off, I've cut another strip of the designer paper from the Leave Nothing Behind. It's a sheet of log paper. And I've cut that to 1/2 inch. And then I've cut a piece of the dark green cardstock. Let's see. I think it's 5/8 of an inch wide, 5/8 of an inch. So it's not 3/4, it's 5/8. So it's just a little bit of that green showing through. And then after I had taped my pieces down, I'm going to tape that right on top. Okay, and that kind of finishes off the look. And then as I'm standing up looking down at it, I can see, where my spacing. I wanted to tinker with it again. And so that's another good reason to use the repositional in case you need to pull it up and move it a little bit. So I wanted to give you an idea here of using one of these promotional punches that are available through the Tool Time buffet. Also, many of you probably already have this punch, so here's an idea for you. You can also go to my blog at karencrops.com and do a search for the Treeline border punch, because I have shared in the past some other great ideas for using this Treeline. I had created some Christmas cards basically using this technique. So the cards were really cute, very simple and elegant. I've created some borders. They were Christmas borders that I created with this Treeline punch. So kind of some white top trees with this for snow. And also last year I did a really cool 4th of July layout where I used this Treeline border punch. So take a look for that one. That was a really nice layout that I did. Now this technique is going to work with other border maker punches. And another current one that we have that's going to work really well with is the Dollop arch punch. So this Dollop arch is going to be very similar to the Treeline, and you can do this technique really easily with the Dollop arch. Take a look at some of our old ones and see which other ones have a pattern that's going to lend itself to cut into pieces. And then also when you punch, that you get a nice solid piece left, such as these pieces. Some of the pieces, when you punch them, you don't get a nice solid piece left over. I tried this with the Wildflowers border punch, and you did not get a nice even piece left. So it didn't kind of work as well. We didn't get that. It wasn't so visually striking as it was with the Treeline or the Dollop arch. All right, so I'm going to stop my video. I'm going to continue to finish my layout. I'm going to get this taped down. I'm going to look for some photographs that I can add to this and complete my layout, and I'll share that with you. You'll be able to see the finished layout better on my blog, again at karencrops.com, or on Facebook at Karen's Croppers. So thanks so much everyone for visiting with me today. I hope you have a great week. Okay, I just wanted to give you a peek at my finished layout. I've completed it with photos that I've matted with more of the dark green cardstock. I have a very thin mat around the photos, just about 1/8 of an inch. I've cut down a journaling or a variety mat that I will use for journaling, so I still need to add my journaling here. I did repeat the brown wood paper stripe down here. It's a little narrower this time. I believe it's 1/4 inch. And then I've added some embellishments and stickers to complete that layout. And I really love how the technique looks with the trees. Like I said, it gives it lots of dimension, a little added interest. And I love it with the white background. So some pointers for this. I like using, we're getting this stark contrast, the visual effect of it. So I do really recommend using a solid cardstock behind your punched out pieces. That's really going to make the whole design and that technique pop a little bit more. And also when you select the paper that you punch, I would select very tonal paper. Okay, paper with just a slight pattern so that it doesn't compete with the intricacy of the punched, okay? So pick a tonal kind of paper. And I did make a second layout using that the Dollop Arch Border Maker Punch. Here it is, the Dollop. And this time I used the What a Zoo 2 collection. And you guys, I have to say, this collection is super, super cute. If you have kids, if you have grandkids, I recommend that you grab this collection because at some point, you know, you're going to have some zoo photos. And I think I'm going to get myself a second set of these because I like them so much. The stickers are absolutely adorable. There's 3 sheets of little animals. There's also a pack of border stickers that are in cool animal prints. There's some layered embellishments that are super nice. Got some nice titles on those. And then I really liked these letter stickers too with the animal print letter stickers. So super cool. But again, you can see I used a dark solid cardstock for the contrast as my background. And I've selected a tonal piece of paper there from the What a Zoo 2 collection. So again, I get the nice contrast. It's really, the pattern of the punch is showing up. The pattern of this cutout there is really coming through nicely too. So just a little bit different than my other layout. Here, you know, I had a frame. This one I did not use a frame. I just went directly onto that black cardstock and left a little bit of space. And this time I was cutting these in sections of 2, just like the punched out piece results. So I cut this apart every 2 dollops. And then I took one and I cut it in half for each side. All right, everybody, I can't wait to see your versions using this technique, and please save them to Karen's Croppers into the appropriate album for an entry into my monthly door prize drawing.